Hi, welcome to Geck T'Know. We are your hosts Natasha
and Gemma from Artgecko Sketch.
This is a podcast series dedicated to getting to know our art community.
From art tips to art advice, we'll be covering it all with a special guest each episode.
If you want to hear more about us, our artists, or anything else, message us at Artgecko Sketch on Instagram.
And whilst you're there, please don't forget to give us a follow or subscribe to our channels.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Geck T'Know. It's me, Natasha.
And me, Gemma.
From Artgecko Sketch. And today we are joined by the wonderful Korp. How are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, how are you?
Not bad, yeah, thank you, yeah.
All good. Now it's cooled down a bit, so we're in September, and it's been a few hot couple of months.
Yes,
it'll be nice if it was a bit cooler here. My studio is like a caravan in my backyard, an old vintage caravan in my backyard. So, you know, one little bit of sun, I'm like baking in here. So after 20 minutes, I'm actually a puddle on the floor. So just be prepared for that.
You've had some good weather lately, though, haven't you, for Korpfest?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Really sunny at Korpfest. So just this weekend, we ran the festival, which is in my studio, my other studio, not this studio, because it'd be quite difficult to fit 20 artists in this one. But my other studio is like a big old place at the back end of a shopping centre in Peterborough. And we had about 21 artists come and paint, and a bunch of them went outside to paint as well. So we put some like Harris fencing up and some boards. So they all went up to paint outside. And then inside my studio, we've got some like real big 14-foot high murals or 14-foot high walls where guys were just painting murals. I think the width of the wall is about 60, 70 foot. So you can imagine like we've got like 5 or 6 artists all painting really big things on there. So yeah, that was really cool, really exciting. We've had some fantastic, we've had My Dog Size, we've had Snub, we've had Sprite, we've had Irony, loads of big names come and paint there as well.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, really good. We'd love to hear like more about that and obviously more about you, because that's the point of today's podcast.
Yeah.
Just to get a chance to find out more about you, because we are this month you're our artist spotlight. So all of this month, although this is coming out at the end of the month, everyone should have seen that we've been highlighting and spotlighting you.
Brilliant. I appreciate it. Thank you. Because you know your freestyle sketchbooks were just a game changer for me. I remember a few years ago now when you first launched them, and Prin came up to me, Kurz, who runs Battle Lines. She came up to me and said, "Have you heard about these people doing a sketchbook that's made for Posca pens?" I was like, "No, don't be stupid. That doesn't exist." And then she, I think you'd given her a few to give away as like for giveaways for the people who were participating in Battle Lines. And she handed me this sketchbook, and I just remember feeling the paper, thinking, "Oh, that's really nice. I can't wait to get on that." And ever since then, it's been a game changer, because I always used to draw on cardboard, but now I draw in this sketchbook all the time because it's just perfect. Amazing. Sorry, that feels like a plug. It wasn't meant to be a plug. I'm not sponsored by Artgecko.
You love it.
We enjoy plug every now and again. We do have some other products that we can tell you about, but we'll tell you about them separate to the podcast, so then at least it isn't a guilty plugging session.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Cool. So as you may or may not know, Geck T'Know, we ask a series of questions that people send in. Some of them are art related, so advice and things that you may be able to pass on as inspiration to other artists. Other questions a bit more fun. So we've had other things in the past where we've had random questions that's gone into spiraling tangents onto other subjects, which is really fun.
Completely off topic.
So we'll probably just kick off with some questions. We'll start off with a more art related one, and we'll see where we go. Yeah, if that's okay with you.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
Well, what's your favorite media to use and why?
So I'm a stencil artist at heart. I really like the boring part of like spending hours cutting out stencils and then spraying them. So I like stencils. I like spray paints. But nowadays, it's quite. It takes a long time to do that kind of stuff, and so to kind of get things finished and busy and done. Nowadays, I'm kind of into marker pens. So it's like everything I do is like with a marker pen. It's like the Spectrum Noir pens. I'm really liking those at the moment. Using them on cheap paper, so they all bleed in and blend in nicely. together. I really like that. Obviously Posca pens, I think I'm kind of known now for Posca pens, but I didn't use Posca pens up until like a few years ago, when a friend of mine, Miss Wah, who's a fantastic artist, she was always a Posca pen artist, and I was a stencil artist. And then I remember we hooked up in Peterborough, and we were at a paint jam in Peterborough, and she'd cut a stencil and sprayed this little tiny stencil on a wall in Peterborough. And then I got a Posca pen and just drew a little thing underneath this stencil. And I thought, this is a bit of a weird way around, because we're both kind of doing each other's thing here. And then ever since then, I've just got some Posca pens and just really enjoyed using them. So I think, even though I'm a stencil artist at heart, I think it's Posca pens, marker pens. That's the kind of the instant, they're in your pocket. You can get them out. You can draw something. You can finish in 10 minutes. That kind of stuff. That's why I like using them.
Nice. With that in mind, and obviously you've mentioned Miss Wara already, but as an artist, how do you keep inspired? So obviously there's inspiration from other artists, but is there a specific way you keep inspired?
I guess nowadays I've never really struggled with it. So even in the past, I've always I've had things that I've always have an abundance of ideas kind of going around in my head that I need to scribble down somewhere. But nowadays, since launching the Korp Academy, when I started doing the online doodling about, just at the start of the pandemic, really, because everyone was going online, I knew I had to do something. And because I do 5 sessions a week, so that's 5 new drawings every single week. And, I'm always looking for different content. So I consume a lot. I must be Pinterest's biggest user, because I'm just always going through Pinterest and seeing what's inspiring me from there. So I use Pinterest and boards a lot for that kind of stuff. And a lot of the times we'll do like artist profiles. So I'll have a week where I'm focusing on just one artist, and it's really nice. Forces me, because I know I've got to do the live shows or the live meetings. It kind of forces me to really dig down and look at how that artist works. And so, and then what I do is I take what that, all the easy bits, or all my favorite bits from how that artist works, and then try and introduce little tiny nuggets into my own work as well. So that always keeps me inspired. Likewise, I like doing things like, I have like zombie week in the Korp Academy. We just spend the whole week drawing zombies. And it's nice and easy, because it doesn't matter if you're making mistakes and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just consuming like zombie doodles online, just trying to come up with all these different ideas. And then every now and then something will just I'll be like, oh, that's a really cool one. I'll see if I can incorporate that into my own work as well. So I think having Korp Academy, being forced to do 5 live sessions every week, that's probably the biggest thing. Deadlines as well. If you've got a project that's got a deadline coming up, that inspires me. I work really well to stick to a deadline. Don't tell Posca that, because I only just hit their deadline for some work I was doing for them on the very last day. But
yeah, we won't tell them.
It got me busy.
This will be out after that.
Thank you. This isn't going out, is it? Yeah, you can edit it out.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so this is a bit of a random one by one of our lovely followers. Do aliens exist?
Yeah. Do aliens exist? Yeah. I think obviously they do. So what was I talking? I was talking to somebody the other day, and the conversation was about ghosts and aliens, and how people believe that ghosts exist more than aliens. And I'm like, it should be the other way around. Surely it's more obvious that aliens exist more than ghosts. I think I was watching a program about Mars, and it was just they'd found water on Mars or something like that. It's like, of course there's aliens. I hope there's aliens. Again, I do Alien Week in the Korp Academy as well, and that's great fun. That is, because you can just kind of draw all sorts of things. It doesn't matter if you've got wings coming out of the head or just an eyeball where the mouth should be. All that kind of stuff is fair game when you kind of draw in aliens. So yeah, I'd love to see what they look like. I don't think they'll look like anything in my sketchbook, but you never know.
I hope they do, but
yeah, I really hope so too.
Yeah.
I watched Solar Opposites on TV. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Great cartoon, and honestly, I love the characters of them aliens. They're so good.
Yeah. I've seen episode 1. Episode 1 is pretty cool. But I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan as well.
Yeah.
Just the animation that goes on. The storyline's great. The characters are great. The fact that all these weird creatures appear in there, but I'm just in love with the animation. Some of the backdrops that have been painted or drawn just look crazy good. So and then somebody said, because I think Solar Opposites, I don't know if it's done by the same people or it's very similar anyway, Yeah, somebody suggested I give that one a go as well. I was like, okay. So yeah, I'm starting on that one.
Definitely
as soon as I
recommend.
finish the Orville, I'm in the Orville at the moment. Have you seen
Right.
the Orville?
No, I've seen the advert.
I see. I'm a sci-fi fan. That's why I think aliens exist. But yeah, the Orville is definitely one to watch. So I didn't really, when I saw the adverts, I was like, I'm not watching this because it's taking sci-fi and it's turning it into something funny, and it's not funny. Sci-fi is something to be taken seriously. So I got a little bit up myself, I think, just there. And it's like, actually, I watched it, and it's like Star Trek: The Next Generation, but it's that kind of mixed with men behaving badly. Do you know what I mean? It's like a bit more of a kind of real humor in there. It's like, you know, all the people going and being drunk while they're on a call to their manager and stuff like that, which you don't normally get to see in The Next Generation. So definitely. Yeah, Orville is definitely one to watch. And of course, the aliens in there, there's always inspiration in there, but you know, what they kind of see and how I can bring that into a sketchbook as well.
Awesome. Yeah. And sorry, just really quickly, in relation to like your corporate academy and all that, so each week it's got a different theme. Is that right?
Yeah. When I first started off, I was doing a different doodle for every lesson. I think back then I was doing like 6 lessons a week on Zoom, and it just got to a point where I was like, I can't keep thinking. There's not that many different things in the world. You know, I was only like 50 lessons in. I was like, there's not that many animals in the world that I can draw a different animal every single week. Obviously there is, but I got a bit stuck on it. So I thought, okay, what I need to do is just have a theme for the week now. So themes for the week will be things like I said, zombies, aliens. What else have I got in here? I did cartoon characters, like 90s cartoon character. I can't show you that one. It's got something on it that I can't show you. But yeah, hang on, I'll show you the top of it, see if you can remember this cartoon. Yeah. Do you remember that was like one of the... Yeah, I mean, you two don't look old enough. It's like 90s cartoon. What I like is sometimes I'm teaching kids that are like 10 years old how to draw this like gruesome 90s cartoons. And 90s cartoons were just crazy. They were just all over the place. So yeah, I can't remember what cartoon it was from, but it's from a 90s cartoon. What else have we done that was good fun? I did drips, did a whole week of how to draw drips.
Okay.
Because so many people struggle with good dripping. And there's artists like Buff Monster who just draw the most amazing drips, have really nailed it down so that you can draw like ice cream with like little drips around the ice cream and stuff like that. So I thought I need to do a week of drips. So we did like, one week it was like, here's a pizza with a face on it and loads of drippy cheese kind of hanging down the bottom. Another week it was like, this is how to draw snot on a character after you finish drawing it. So we had like all this drippy snot hanging out of its nose and stuff like that. So it's like just one really loose theme that kind of can be expanded and we can play with it.
I love that. That is
good
really
idea.
Cool.
Really good idea.
What is the best advice you've ever been given as an artist?
There's probably a couple of things. I think. Say again, sorry.
Sorry, like with regards to your art, like what's the best advice you've been given?
Yeah. So I think one bit of advice that is always, I've been given loads of advice over the years, and it's always all helped me kind of become the artist I am now. But I think the one bit that always kind of resonates with me, and if people ask, is what I kind of naturally then tell them to do is to draw the same thing every time. So I think a lot of artists are naturally talented. They don't really have to try too hard to be good at art. So they end up kind of just trying loads of different things. And I think when you try loads of different things, when you're drawing a landscape that day and you're drawing a portrait the next day, and then the next day you're doing like waxing with batik, the next day you're doing like oil colors, then you're doing it back onto watercolors, and you're all over the place, but you're just always making those sideways moves. Whereas I think as soon as I said, right, I'm going to do marker work and I'm going to draw worms for a living, it was like the amount of development I got from that, and the progression is kind of upwards all the time. It's not a sideways move, it's always going forward with it. So yeah, for me it's definitely draw the same thing all the time and just get better at that one small niche thing.
Yeah, that's really good. I was at art college with a girl called Hannah, and honestly everyone else, like you were saying, trying everything else, but she seemed to just have this one style that she absolutely just nailed it. And it was like swirly, Tim Burton-esque, but more like hippie style. So she really developed this thing. and then she became like hippie Hannah, like that was like what she became. And her artwork is incredible. And I always remember thinking at the time, like, oh, I should really think about that. Like, what's she actually done there? She's done that exact thing that you say. But yeah, I think when you're new to art, or in particular trying to figure out what kind of artist you want to be, you do tend to spread yourself very thin, don't you? You look at different things.
100%. Yeah. There's a time and a space for doing that, for trying out loads of different things. But then there's also a time to kind of say, right, I'm not going to be a landscape watercolor artist. This is the artist I'm going to be, and then just moving forward for that. Because you're like your friend Hannah. One of the things I always tell a lot of my students as well is that people's brains, they like to recognize the artwork they're looking at. So as soon as somebody looks at one of Hannah's paintings and they're like, oh, I recognize those swirls, that's going to be a Hannah piece. Yeah. That kind of I don't know. This isn't real science. This is just made up stuff that I think happens. I think that releases like a chemical in your brain that rewards that person, that makes them feel good about themselves because they recognize who the artwork was by. So, you know, creating a style isn't good for the artist. I think creating a style is good for the audience and therefore good for the artist, because it kind of makes them feel good about the fact, you know, I love it when I'm kind of walking around, if I'm walking around Digbeth, or if I'm walking around London or something like that, and I'm looking at all the murals and I'm like, oh, I know that one's by, I know that one's by. It makes me feel good because I feel like I've got a little bit of insight into this world. So I think that's why I like that idea of kind of just doing the same thing all the time, being known for a certain thing.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's bang on.
Yeah, completely. Speaking of making a living out of drawing worms, at what point, or how did you get to the point where you could make a living from doing what you do?
For a minute there, I thought you were doing like the silly questions. And I was expecting one of the silly questions. Speaking of drawing worms, where's this one going to go? It was how do I make a living from? So yeah, this kind of goes back to how I got the name Korporate as well. So my street art name is Korporate because I used to work for a corporation. Now I nearly got I got onto a final written warning for this corporation straight away. I'd never done anything wrong in my life, but I got onto a final written warning. So everything I did was by the book, and people started calling me Corporate Kane because Kane's my real name. So for about a year while I was on this warning, I was Corporate Kane, and that the corporate bit just kind of stuck, and then it kind of shortened to Korp as well. So so that's how the name was born. But it was working for that corporation. I think I was there for like 20 odd years working for that corporation. I had some well-paid jobs working there as well. But my side hustle was, you know, the artwork and being an artist. I didn't do workshops back then. It was just doing artwork. And so all I was doing was I was concentrating on just drawing what I enjoyed drawing. There was no commercial side to it. I didn't have to make money from it because I had my day job that was doing that for me. So I just drew whatever I wanted to draw. And just posted it on Instagram. You know, thank God Instagram and things like that are around, because otherwise, how the hell would I find my audience that want to look at worm doodles all day? So it was a case of like I spent like that must have been about 10 years just kind of putting stuff on Instagram, sharing stuff on Facebook, going to paint jams and stuff like that. And slowly, while I was doing that, my audience found me. So I know my stuff, my regular paintings and drawings are not particularly mainstream. There's only a few people that like them, but those people that like them really like what I'm doing. So, you know, it kind of works out from that point of view. But yeah, I slowly I built up this audience. And it got to a point where other people even the people I was working with in the office were saying, why are you here? Surely you should be out there selling paintings for a living because that's what you're good at. And I was like, no, I'm good with the way it's working, of, you know, working 6 hours a day for the man, and then 6 hours. Let's go 7. Let's go 8. Working 8 hours a day for the man, and then doing like 1 hour of doodling every day. That was my comfort zone at the time. But I was a bean counter, a data analyst there as well. And so one of the things I noticed was that actually my online following had grown to like 10,000 people. When you added them all up together, it was 10,000 people. And I kind of thought, do you know what, if I can take a small percentage of that 10,000 people, you know, just 5% of them, and if I can get that 5% just spending like 50 quid a year on my stuff, that feels achievable. And it was like, actually, that's a decent amount of money to be making. So it was like, from then, it was like, okay, just got to go for it. So yeah, ended up leaving leaving that corporation and just and going for it. So yeah, I think the takeaway from that is, there's nothing wrong. I used to call it that I was an artist full time, but I subsidized my earnings by working for a corporation for 40 hours a week. That was my mindset with it. But yeah, the takeaway is, don't be afraid to kind of carry on working a regular day job that pays the bills, that feeds the kids, that kind of stuff, and then work on that side hustle and just concentrate on the audience. Forget the commercial side of it, because when you go full time, you have to think about the commercial side of it, and that can be a bit of a pain in the ass, trying to think about trying to maintain your integrity as an artist, but also make money from it, and you also produce work that sells or is saleable. So doing those two things together for a little while is definitely what I'd advise a lot of people to do.
Brilliant.
I bet it was quite scary making the jump though, going from that full time to your artist career.
Oh, 100%. I was working for one of the biggest organizations in the world. There was no chance this organization was ever going to go under. It's been around for over 100 years. It's a massive company. I'd gone from that to colouring in for a living, and it just felt so nerve-wracking, because it was like, I'm not sure if I can do this. But yeah, we got there.
Cool. I think stuff like that's really good, because when I think about other people that I know that have done very similar things, so a friend Adam, he did the same as a photographer. So he did the exact same thing. He worked in a lab, completely didn't work in what he wanted to do, and then just decided to take the plunge. And he did say at first it took a little bit of time, so maybe like a year or something, to sort of pick up customers and sort of work with people. But actually now he enjoys going out taking pictures every day. Like, that's his life. So I think definitely
and nothing will focus you more. Nothing will focus you more on earning money from what you do, what you love doing, than knowing that there's no money coming in unless you get those commissions, unless you get those jobs and stuff like that. So it's amazing how your brain will just tune into that, and you'll just cope with it.
Cool. Right, some fun questions. Not that they weren't fun, but some more fun ones. What's your favorite?
Thanks for the feedback.
Not feedback, not that they weren't fun. I'm just saying these ones are
so rude.
Anyway, moving on. I think you let me go, right? What's your favorite TV show or film?
So like I said, at the moment it's The Orville. I'm really digging watching that. I can't wait for a new series of Rick and Morty to come out, because I find that very inspiring. I've done loads of doodles based on Rick and Morty characters. Sci-fi stuff I love. I hate superhero stuff. I fit the profile to be a superhero, like super fan, but I can't stand it. It does my head in. Or DC Comics, Avengers, all that kind of stuff. Don't like it. I know that wasn't the question, but I felt I need to get that out there. But yeah, if you had to pin me down to one thing at the moment, it would be Rick and Morty.
Fab.
I know that the series is coming out. It's very soon. It's coming out, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. I've been rewatching it.
Apparently so. Yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah, rewatch it so that you get the plot line right from the start.
Yeah, because it goes all over the place anyway. But yeah, cool. Right.
Yeah.
See, very serious question. Very serious. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
You see, this is a no-brainer for me, because I love tuna on a pizza.
Yeah.
And so, like, tuna and pineapple is my go-to pizza every single time.
No.
I don't think I've ever had another pizza since I started eating pizza. I don't know why I got into tuna and pineapple, and I probably did have a bit of a weird feeling about why is there fruit on my pizza. But yeah, pineapple on a pizza, definitely. And here's a secondary follow-up to that: bananas in your curry.
I've heard about this.
Yeah,
I had a banana curry the other day, and it was really nice. It was banana, apple, and chicken. It was like the weirdest combination, but it worked. Either that, or I'd had a busy day, so I was hungry. So that might have helped.
Yeah,
sounds a bit like a korma. I could imagine it being like.
Don't they put cherries in korma?
Sometimes
I swear.
Do they?
I think so.
I don't know. They've slipped that in. Because I don't like cherries, but I love a korma.
going back to your tuna on a pizza. So I went when I was a teenager. I went to the Dominican Republic with my parents on holiday, and they had like these pizza things you could just go and get. And they did like pizzas with tuna, pineapple, and jalapenos.
Oh, nice, nice.
And
I don't know. I think I might have been in Tunisia or somewhere like that, and they did this pizza. I'm sure this pizza had like just a half fried egg in the middle of it. It was just like a normal pizza, and then like an egg just there. It didn't even look. It was almost poached rather than anything else. But that felt a bit weird. I didn't try that one.
No, is that? I think they call that a Florentine. Florentine pizza.
What? A Florentine?
Florentine.
No.
It's my no, definitely not. It's my accent. A Florentine, I think. A Florentine.
Oh, Florentine, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a known thing, is it? I thought it was just weird.
So. They do. It's like spinach and yeah. I feel like it's a thing. I think I might have seen it at like a pizzeria somewhere. Mm-hmm. But kind of related again to pizzas-ish. But what's your favourite cheese?
Oh, favourite cheese? I'm not really a big cheese person. I've got a friend of mine who's like massive on cheese and will buy like 27 different varieties of cheese. But for me, I'm like, there's Red Leicester and Double Gloucester, or maybe Cathedral City. What else is there? So yeah, I know. No. Cheese isn't, cheese in a can. No, I don't have cheese in a can. Yeah, Red Leicester. Let's go for Red Leicester for that one.
Nice. Cool. It's a very solid choice. That very solid.
Goes on with everything.
Yeah,
I think so.
Reliable.
No frills. Don't give me any of your like blue veiny cheese or cheese that smells a bit. I did hear as well that somebody said to me that when they make cheese, they have to scrape all the mold off it first. That really kind of put me off cheese. Is that true? I don't know.
I think it is true. I think it is. I think it depends what cheese as well. But yeah, I think. Right. See, I love a blue cheese. We've had this conversation with Natasha from Art by NZ. And this is where this question came from, because it became a thing where
snowballed dramatically.
It did. But yeah, see, I love a blue cheese, and I had one at the weekend, which was like, it was like a manchego Spanish cheese, like a hard cheese, but then it had truffle on the edges.
Ooh. And
that was spot on. But I know that for some people would be horrendous because it's cheese and it's mushroom. So like. Yeah, people can't hate that.
It sounds like a train wreck. That's disgusting.
I definitely feel like some of the team that hate mushroomy flavours.
Oh yeah,
they wouldn't like that at all.
No.
If that came out on a plate in a restaurant, I'd be sending that back. I think that's disgusting.
Cool. So we know Red
Leicester. Something wrong with you.
Reliable.
Just Red Leicester. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, they were all the questions we had.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
We smashed through those. I don't even know how much time we have left, but yeah, we absolutely smashed it.
We did. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. 3 minutes. Let's go.
Oh, really?
Thank you very much, guys.
No problem at all. Well, it's been an absolute delight and pleasure talking to you again. And we look
likewise, yeah, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
And we really look forward to speaking with you and working with you again in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Out there, make sure to subscribe to us, obviously, why not? Make sure you follow all of Korp's activities. You've got your own corporate account, haven't you, and Studio Korp on Instagram.
At Korporate, at Studio Korp, at Korpfest as well. Why have one account when you can have 3? I've actually got 5, but I won't go for them all.
Because this is the internet, we'll put all of them below.
Yeah. All of them.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll put them all there somewhere on the comment section. Yeah. And we'll put the links on our Instagram too, and all of the channels that we have. So follow Korp,
please. Yes. Thank you.
Smashing.
And as always, thanks for listening / watching, however you're viewing. And yes, thanks, Korp. Hope you have a great rest of the day.
You too, guys. Thanks a lot. See you soon.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. Bye.